All right, let's get back to work. Now we have a decision to make. Are we going to go back through Public Works and Fire? If so, Public Works needs a little more time to do some cutting on their budget that they found. And if we're going to go through it, we could do Fire and then Corporate is ready to go. What do you want to do? Do you want to continue on this page by page stuff?
We'll come back.
Yep. Do we need to go? We already went through Fire and Public Works. Do we need to do it again? Okay. Oh, well, we cut some.
Okay,
We
because
rearranged some.
it will be time that we will, and I mean, that's fine. We can do corporate services another day. It'll have to be done. What's that? All of corporate services hasn't been done. Treasury. Well, that's why the mayor's asking, do you want to go back over the Public Works and Fire now? Or do you want corporate services to go forward first?
Okay.
Okay.
Corporate isn't in these, is it?
So
Okay.
whether ladies first or you want me to go first, Kathy, it's up to you.
You go right ahead. I can follow up.
All right. I'm not in the meeting now. I guess I need to go back to that link.
And we have no paperwork on this, right?
Yeah. You will get a copy of the presentations after if council wishes.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to bring up my one presentation or did you share or give me sharing ability? Okay. Okay. Thank you. What's this one? Let's wait for it to come up here. Okay. So, yeah, I'm just a little slower than most people on that.
And Chris, can you make it as big as possible? Oh,
It's bigger on my screen right now, so maybe you want me to stop sharing and you bring the presentation up? Why don't we do that? It's big on my screen right now, but not there.
the way I see people squinting, I'm not the only one that can't read it, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's on your USB, Chris, sorry. Is that, yeah. No, it's the other one that says finance.
No, not that one. That's ours. That's the corporate.
There's municipal acts finance sections at the top.
No.
There's two presentations that I gave Chris. One was the presentation this morning and one was the finance section. Okay, then I'll try and share this again. Just didn't get bigger. No, it's my bad, probably. Start. So it may not get bigger. It's the only thing I can. We can do that. Ultimately, don't worry.
Just bullet point it, please.
Oh, I'm going to it. So the first slide really just touches on the municipal act and the different things that we have to follow. And I wish I had all the time in the world to read through everything, but it hasn't changed in a while, so that's at least good. The thing that I just added this morning was the public sector accounting board for the financial statements. There's always rules that we have to follow. It's a lot. It's a lot to stay up to date on, and it's a lot to get done. So the meat really is what we do. Everybody's received their property tax bills recently. We collect on behalf of the county and the school board, and we submit that money to them. It's any one of our jobs that I have listed here. Obviously, it's not a 30-second job. It's not a 2-hour job. Sometimes it's a 5-day job. Accounts receivable, so dog tags. If there's accidents that happen, we issue those invoices. We collect that. We have Aaron's the deputy treasurer, and then we have accounts payable clerk, and we have 3 clerical assistants. Just, I don't think I have that in there, but I might. Accounts payable, we take care of paying any invoices that we have. Assessment management, we do very little of that because we don't have the staff. I mean, we trust MPAC in what they send out, and I wish we had more time to devote to active assessment management as well, but go with the flow. In the non-due date months or issuing of tax bills, we send out overdue notices, which has worked out quite well. When I started here 12 years ago, I think we were over 20% receivables, and we're down to like 12, 11 maybe. And I added this last line just because it's huge. I mean, you answer 2 emails and you get 5 more or 20 more that have come in. So daily management of emails is a very time consuming part of the day. And it's hard to ignore them to try and get something done, even just for half a day. Tax sales, other than 1 year since I've been here, we've started properties each year, 14-month long process. And it's, I think very valuable to keep doing. I know some municipalities don't do it on a regular basis, and it surprises me. So, but we all think differently. Obviously, we take care of payroll for all of employees and volunteer firefighters. Tax certificates when they're needed. My deputy treasurer does that for me. Customer service, which is huge. Front counter, phones, emails. The citywide work order system seems to be working pretty good for getting out to the public works and different requests that come in that way. When I started here, the auditors did the financial statements. We went to Caseware, and just last year, 2 years ago, maybe now, we switched to the citywide budgeting software, which seems to be working pretty good. There's definitely quirks that still have to be worked out, but deal with that as best you can each year. Interior and exterior liaison, obviously with recreation committees, with anybody that needs us, federal, provincial, and we do a lot of reporting. Every time there's a grant, there's a lot of reporting that goes with it. It's great to see that new rink roof go up, but there's a lot of work that goes in the background by the volunteers, by the people organizing stuff, and then of course the reporting after. And the annual insurance renewal, another fun part of the year, making sure that we have the right assets, completing the questionnaires. It's definitely a team effort spearheaded by finance, but definitely need everybody involved because I do not know the answers to most of the questions. I alluded to it earlier, just staying up to date on all the different legislation that we're required to, feels like, be experts on. It's hard, but that's a lot of the ones that are up in the forefront right now. Oh, I was just going to see if this will work. And then you can stop listening to me talk for a minute. Well, if not, I will send this out if you want to copy and paste that in. So it's coming up on my screen, but not on yours. Okay, so basically the 3 videos: asset management planning, how the budget works, and development charges, which I know we're not doing right now. But let me see, I think that's the last slide. So that's it. Let me see if I can copy this in. Maybe, do you want to do your presentation, Kathy, and then we'll go through the numbers, and I'll see if I can get this video. It's not showing, okay. Well, it's on the same screen as before, well, do Kathy's presentation.
Okay, you can go to the next, the next, oh, there, he's got it up big. So everybody can certainly read this. With the municipal administration, I thought it was very, it was something that maybe all of council, since we have 5 new councillors, that may be able to understand exactly what the corporate services and what my job is. And of course, I have the dual job of the CAO clerk and with the deputy clerk, more than anything. So as you see from the screen, the municipal administration, section 227 does state that it is the role of the officers and employees of the municipality to implement council's decisions and establish administrative practices and procedures to carry out council's decisions. So also to undertake research and provide advice to council on the policy and programs of the municipality. And we also carry out other duties required under this or any act and other duties assigned by the municipality. So you can turn next slide. So as the chief administrative officer, they are responsible for exercising the general control and management of the affairs of the municipality for the purpose of ensuring the efficient and effective operation of the municipality and performing such other duties as are assigned by the municipality, which means council as a whole. Okay, next slide. So as part of the chief administrative officer, I am, as my role, I am your one employee and the township's chief of staff. So the CEO leads the township senior management team and is ultimately responsible for strategic oversight of all human, physical, and financial resources of the township. Also, the CAO is the township's administrative and management content expert and provides the strategic and operational advice to council on a full range of matters. So that's where I'm sort of the liaison between, and this goes further into council and staff. So general duties is the principal policy advisor to council. That's basically what the chief administrative officer does. Chief of staff provides executive leadership to the senior management team, a liaison between staff and council, and oversees the implementation of best practices, oversees the capital and operating budget development and recommended changes. So that's when I meet with the managers, we go through the budgets, and I may make some suggestions of things that that they may not like for to go into the budget or not, with my recommendations. Also oversees the development and adherence of strategic initiatives such as certainly the strategic plan, community improvement plan, the official plan, and service deliveries. Next slide. Also, human resources. I oversee all the labor and employee relations matters, including hiring, dismissal, and discipline. Oversees the training and staff development. Oversees the annual staff performance evaluations. Serve as an active member of the township's emergency management team. Escalations and complaints. Handles inquiries or complaints from the public or agencies or council members which cannot be resolved by managers. So there may be a conflict between what the manager says and maybe the public. So if you can't resolve it at that level, it comes directly to myself. Prepares reviews and presents the reports to council and township committees. Next slide. So provide executive advice and support to the mayor with respect to the roles and responsibilities of the head of council as set out in the Municipal Act and township bylaws. I consult and liaison with legal counsel as required and acts as the staff media representative. Next slide. Now, the clerk is a statutory officer under the Municipal Act, under Section 228 of the Municipal Act. So municipalities shall appoint a clerk, and they record without note or comment all resolutions, decisions, and other proceedings of the council. If required by any member present at a vote, to record the name and vote of every member voting on any matter or question, and to keep the original or copies of all bylaws and of all minutes of the proceedings of council. Also, to perform the other duties required under this act, the Municipal Act, and any other act. And also to perform such other duties, as assigned by the municipality as a whole. Deputy, also in Section 228(2) of the Municipal Act, you see that municipality may appoint deputy clerks who have all the powers and duties of the clerk under this and any other act. Now, majority of the municipalities have deputy clerks to help with the amount of the workload. When you see all the things that go under corporate and with the clerking and the deputy clerk and, for the deputy clerk as well. So it, I know that majority of them have deputy clerks. Okay, the primary responsibilities of the clerk includes managing the municipality's records, conducting the municipal elections, acting as the secretariat to council and its committees, making information accessible to the public while providing and protecting the privacy. providing leadership in matters of protocol, and providing administrative support to members of council. The clerk's office is also responsible for a variety of corporate and administrative and legislative functions, putting it in continual contact with all municipal departments, elected officials, other levels of government, and certainly the general public. Other ones are certainly the record management. It is required by the Municipal Act, including all the minutes and committees of council, bylaws, resolutions, decisions, declarations, including electronic records using the Ontario Municipal Records Management System, which we are implementing, and we have started under Tom Rims, and certainly records retention bylaw. As you know, they oversee myself, and certainly when I'm not here with Jody, oversee council meetings and agenda creation. This includes making the agenda accessible and distribution to members of council staff, media, and the public. The accessibility part is a big chore in itself. And I know in the last meeting we had with the other clerks within Frontenac County, they all struggle with the exact same things. And a lot of them do not include graphs and all those things, because you cannot get those accessible enough for people to actually understand. So I know that is and we talked about how to do some of those items. The clerk is delegated to head requests under the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection Act, which that's MFIPA, and ensure compliance to the Act. Clerk is responsible, as you said, we had on the other one, is to conduct municipal elections and liaisons with other levels of governments and agencies, including conservation authorities, the County of Frontenac, and neighboring municipalities. We have a good certainly group of folks that you can reach out to all over. And for the amount of years that I've been with this municipality, I have lots of contacts, which is very, very helpful, because we try not to reinvent the wheel. We all learn from one another. So, and also there's the overseeing the lottery licensing and ensuring compliance to the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario. Other duties. There's also the divisional registrar for marriages and deaths. So the clerk is also authorized under license to perform the civil marriages. We manage the township-owned cemeteries and ensure compliance to the Bereavement Authority of Ontario. Liaison between council and public, with public meetings, investigating grievances and communications via the website, social media, news releases, and advertisements. Accessibility programs such as accessible records, website, facilities, and events. Complete required reporting, a township staff representative on County Accessibility Committee. And some of these things are under certainly the clerk's direction, and certainly under myself, but we do have other staff that do these, and I'll further go on a little further on these. Research and write reports regarding legislation, changes to legislation, scheduling, and procedural protocols. Create and amend township bylaws as required by legislation and council direction. Okay, next slide, Chris. Thank you. Road allowance closures. So there's road closures, road access agreements. The clerk's office also handles all these: conveyance application, requests for license, agreements to use unopened road allowances. Sale of surplus land and failed tax system. That's the clerk's office also coordinates any sales of surplus land, easement requests, and or purchase of land expropriations. Zoning bylaw amendments fall under the umbrella of the clerk's department, and they, in cooperation with planning staff, manages zoning bylaw amendments, deeming bylaws, applications to withholding provisions, and site plan agreements. So based in who all direct reports, I have 9 that report to me directly, and they're all listed there. The Deputy Clerk Executive Assistant, the Community Services Coordinator, the Treasurer, Fire Chief, the Manager of Emergency Services, Public Works Manager, the Chief Building Official, the Building Inspector, Facilities Coordinator, and certainly the Planning and Development Services Coordinator. So also too, just so that as part of that is, and with all these things, I probably receive, and Jody can certainly, at least 200 emails a day. So it's managing those things as well is very difficult. Thank goodness I have Jody, and she certainly does a lot she has access to my emails. She starts going through them and she stars the most important that I need to get on right away. So, but it's amazing how many, when you don't realize how many.
Technology has created more work.
Absolutely. You can try, and next slide then. So this is approximately how many under the Human Resource Administrative Direction. We have 31 full-time staff, 2 part-time, 3 casual, and 3 contract. So, and they're broken down further if you wish. Next slide. Also, best practices. I do weekly meetings with the senior management team. I monthly have a Frontenac clerks meeting. Quarterly, Frontenac CAO meet. Staff council, certainly with updates. I provide those to council, and I have Jody helping, and certainly to all the staff. I think that they find when they don't attend meetings, they understand what goes on, certainly at a council meeting. So we do that right after council, is update the rest of the staff as to what has taken place. Community partner meetings, because we always have lots of meetings from different communities, say for instance, the Sharborough Lake washing facility, Wayne and Robinson Allison come to see me. So I have lots of those kind of meetings as well. The association meetings and conferences, that's where we're going to go to the AMCTO conference. I did belong, and I'm part of the AMCTO, but at one point I was one of the zone chair at zone 6, which I do no longer do, because that's a lot of extra work, as well as on the Ontario Association of Committees of Adjustment and Consent Authorities. I was on that board for a number of years. You find out lots of things. You get yourself out there around the province of Ontario. There are lots of people. They come from as far north, even in Sault Ste. Marie or up in Fort Francis and all that. They come from all over. But I've certainly met a lot of folks in my coming up my 42 years with the municipality. Also, there's quarterly accessibility meetings. So that gives you an overview sort of what the administration and sort of the clerks, CAO's responsibilities, jobs are, duties, as well as overall operational. It lands on the corporate services departments. So, okay. So I don't know if that's helpful for council, but you can have a copy of the presentation as well.
And just to add to that, people do walk into the office and they always want to see the CAO.
Yes.
It seems to be the first line of attack or
That's
compliments.
True. Yeah, that's true. So, but I mean, I want to certainly mention to council, yes, some of these roles fall onto certainly my umbrella. We have a great management team and we have great staff. So that's why I meet with managers on a weekly basis to keep me abreast of anything that's coming down the tube. If they have any concerns, we go through a lot of things in a day, things like this, the budgets, and I certainly, I can commend them for the amount of work they do.
Madam Mayor, may I go ahead and play this video?
Sure.
It's on asset management planning, and
Could you pull that curtain in that window right there?
it's a collaboration between MFOA and OECM, and there's 2 other videos they've already done that we saw last year, I think, and they're working on other videos as well, just to try and educate
They are
people.
short videos. Just remember, we
It-
just ate.
3 minutes.
Okay.
So no popcorn though, sorry. There should be words, Chris.
Drinking,
There we go.
garbage collection and recycling.
It's only coming right here.
The municipality of MFOA has approximately $20 billion in municipal infrastructure assets that are critical to delivering these services. These include roads, bridges, sewer and water systems, recreation facilities, and parks. The municipality of MFOA is similar to many municipalities. They're facing challenges because of aging infrastructure. Many of their assets are reaching the end of their life cycle, and there's a need for new infrastructure to service growth. This is where
Okay,
asset
so
management planning comes in.
it's moving for me, but not on there.
Asset management planning is the process used to help make the best possible decisions regarding the building, operating, maintaining, renewing, replacing, and disposing of infrastructure assets. Simply put, it's all about making the right decision at the right time for the right amount. Municipalities focus on three fundamental goals: providing sustainable services to residents, optimizing municipal infrastructure asset value while minimizing life cycle costs, and managing risks to service delivery. For example, the municipality of MFOA takes a proactive approach and initially developed a corporate asset management plan in 2014. In 2019, the municipality developed a new policy and updated its plan to meet the new provincial regulation requirements and improve management of all assets. The planning and policy development process provides a clear, detailed picture of our assets, needs, and priorities, which plays an important role in the development of the municipality's multi-year budget. An optimal amount of funding is required to manage current and future asset risks. The difference between the optimal amount and available budget is what we call the infrastructure gap. If the infrastructure gap increases, it will result in inaccessible assets or assets that are not in optimal use. So we need to balance growth, catch up on overdue maintenance of existing assets, finance the replacement of.
No, it's completely gone. Sorry,
Maybe we could pass on those. And
for now.
Are we starting at the corporate or Michael first? I think we're gonna go through corporate first.
I was going to suggest we just start at page 1 and skip over the pages that we've already gone through, but all of the departments are in this report that you have in front of you.
sorry, page 1, revenues. And then it starts the expenses. Any comments on that page? Nope, page 2. Page 2. Duncan and then Nikki. No, we can go ahead. Jody's here.
Starting from the top, I have about 5 on here. So starting from the top, what is meeting expenses?
Michael can answer these.
Okay. Top of page 2, Michael.
Top of page 2. So I've got meeting, communications, insurance, mileage.
Yes, the first one, meeting.
Oh, meeting. I thought I said media. Sorry.
Oh, no, sorry, meeting expenses.
714, $1,500.
Yeah, so I can't get into Diamond right now, but I mean, what would come there is anything that Kathy might need to run for a meeting, if there's supplies, generally, if there's a meal that's going on, if she had to rent.
Our lunches.
So any expense that's related to a meeting that's being held.
Okay.
Could be-
So what is non-capital small consumable tools?
Which one?
$2,100.
Okay, yeah.
$733. Yeah.
So what comes to mind there is basically meals. I know we set that up initially. Well, this is for council, right? Yeah. Yeah. So council meetings, coffee, treats and that type of stuff would go under that line.
We only spent $191.
Yes.
Okay. So
So those two combined?
what is, so I guess what is the difference between meeting expenses, which we're allocating $1,500 to, and non-capital small consumable tools for $2,100?
So my first thought is food and not food,
Food and,
not food. So if Kathy had to buy supplies or reports or whatever for a meeting, like I'd have to look in and I can't get into Diamond right now. It's been a frustration all day long. I could tell you what was spent on there, but right now I can't.
Okay, because my question is for like non-capital small consumable tools, we only spent $191. I think we can cut $1,900 from that line item.
Okay,
They-
let's put a question mark there until Michael can tell us what we would charge under that.
Okay,
Okay.
governance expense, the two down from that one, $1,000 we haven't allocated or haven't spent any in 2023.
There's a few 1,000s, eh?
Yes, but it's exactly the one I'm looking at as government expense, because I also see consumables in the next line item.
The next $4,000, right? There was $432 spent in consumables. No, I don't have an expense account. Oh, does it?
Yeah.
There you go. I could be taking you out for coffee. You notice there's no expenditure on that side, right?
You're frugal.
That's right. If nobody takes me for coffee, we don't drink coffee. Kathy, Duncan's question was meeting expenses and non-capital small consumable tools, materials, what those charges would be.
I think some of that, the meeting expense, is that under council? That would be but that not any of the meetings that they would have been attending, not these council meetings. Michael, what's that?
Again, I can't get into Diamond to see exactly what we spent money
Okay.
on, but the governance, the one thing I can see here from FMW is that there was $600 in 2022. We could have put the computers there. That might have been where we put the computer
Okay,
initially.
yes, okay,
And there's $72 in 2021, but correct, nothing in 2023.
right. It could be the expense where you got, for your computer when you first started council. That's what he's talking about. That maybe is where that part, same with communications and then the non-capital small consumable tools, materials. That would be things like the goodies, because at one point, I think that's where Cindy was all the things for council, the water, the goodies, the lunch, all that stuff was charged under council meetings.
Okay, so
Okay,
we're getting a feed. Oh, there we go. And so we also have governance, mayor and council coffee.
So I'm not.
yes, we all pay that through our, let's see, maybe that doesn't need to be there.
Well,
No, I wouldn't think,
There's nothing charged to that.
Okay, so
no.
So it should be taken out.
I'll go to the cuts in a second. And then the last one is miscellaneous expense number 2.
$17,000 charged there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, Michael, the $10,000, that
That-
wouldn't have been,
that's the strategic plan that I mentioned at the beginning of the different additions, just because it's not done yet. We don't have all the bills in. I don't know where that's going to be. So I put that in there kind of as a placeholder so we don't forget about it too.
oh, okay.
So that would have been what was spent, the 17,860.
Yes, and I forget what
Yes.
the bid came in at, but there's still money there to be spent. I just don't know the exact dollar.
That's right. That'd be the strategic plan.
Okay.
Okay, so like the cuts I'd like to make, Madam Mayor, is non-capital small consumable tools. I'd like to cap it at $200, which is what it was last year. I'd like to completely remove the governance expense. The consumables, I'd like to cap at $500. The governance, mayor and council coffee, I'd like to get rid of it.
Okay, what do other things?
Okay,
Others
so
think?
then that means, then what's that mean, Michael? Yeah, he needs to go a little slower. There, to look to see what's all in there, and then we can,
So the first one, we were taking down materials
No
and supplies
Yeah.
down to $200, right?
So Michael, that's 0240 733.
Right, so I've got that one down to 200,
Yep, and then I'd like to 0240 70100,
right?
like it to be a 0.
Okay,
0240 72191. I'd like that to be also 0. Understanding full well, I'll have to bring my own coffee.
yeah, that's concerned, that would be no coffee or goodies at council.
No,
Isn't it?
That's a different one.
Oh, mayor and council?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know what that.
well, Michael, do we not all pay for council and staff?
yeah, council and staff all have a $2 or $3 coming off your pay.
Your
time
pay
pays for
all the
coffee.
time.
We
to
pay
pay for
through the
coffee.
social fund every paycheck,
And the social fund doesn't just cover for the coffee though.
but that's not that line because there's been nothing expended in that line. I think it was a placeholder in case we,
Take this out and keep the money coming from the social fund.
Yeah, that's true. So what other, so there was 200 for the non-capital, you said, small consumable tools to 200, 0 under the coffee, and what was the other one, sorry?
And the governance expense?
Okay, the $1,000.
now just to go up to training, we spent 2,460 and we only budgeted 1,000 for that one.
And not all the bills are in yet on that. So
Well, that one needs to go up. Compared to what.
That would have been probably our charge to the training at the county when we did the council training in South Frontenac, Michael. It may have been in there.
Also, maybe we didn't need that again.
No, that may not necessarily be.
Is that 23, 22?
That's what I'm just, I'm not sure if so.
Through Madam Mayor, does that also include attendance at conferences and with the
Okay.
training?
no, there's a line, Councillor Irwin's from Madam Mayor, for conventions. And that's one of the ones where I put it up by $3,500 based on actions already this year.
Okay, so we're taking out of here 1,000, 2,000. Go ahead.
Whose telephone are we paying for under communications where it says telephone, fax, cell at $531?
That would probably be yours, friend.
Is
The
it?
mayor's probably.
The mayor's, okay.
That would be the mayor's phone, would it not?
I'm thinking so, yes. Again, Diamond's not
Right,
working for me, so I can't answer most of those questions, unfortunately.
right.
What's the story with Diamond today when we need them?
Maybe the office is on it. But that's probably, that communication would be the mayor's phone. That's the only one that has a,
Pardon? No, I'd gladly get rid of it.
My next one's under mileage, so 70029. We budgeted $2,000. We only spent 150. I'd like to see that drop to 500 total.
Is everything in there is my question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Again, that there's only $191 in there. Is there more to be charged to that line?
yes, there would have been
The
from
date
anybody
you're
going to the
cutting at this
conference.
stage is, it's how much more is there to go in these lines?
There was the conference, any of the other meetings that some accounts of, we pay the mileage.
But does it all go under this section?
Yes. Anything dealing with council, yes, it does. So we did receive just from just recently from the Roma. So anybody that drove the mileage, that's what goes in there. And then I'm not sure where the, because we have the hotel costs and everything too, that goes under conventions, does it not, Michael?
Between conventions and kilometers, yes.
Okay, so. For council.
Okay, anything else on this page? Michael, you'll come back to us with some information on that section.
In what regard, Madam Mayor?
In the regards to cutting $2,000 out of the non-capital small consumable and the other $1,000 that we don't know what's been charged to them.
Okay,
Okay.
yes.
Just, we don't want to, again, end up having to spend them and nothing in the budget to cover it and be in a deficit.
So through Madam Mayor, so I know that I haven't put in my expense report from Roma, so for those of us who haven't, we better get them in so that Michael will have that information.
Yes. Okay. Oh, just keeps going. See what I mean? Phones, watches, computers, you don't need any of them. All right, page 3. Nikki,
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Which line am I on? Add under corporate expense, advertising promotional materials.
now wait a minute. Are you on page 3?
Yes, I'm on page 3.
Whereabouts?
70003, advertising / promotion
Okay,
materials.
yeah.
We spent 831. I'd like to see it drop by at least 1,000 there. Conventions you will want to add. So conventions, we have 5,000 there. Is this council or is this corporate staff?
This is corporate staff, is it not, Michael, or is that?
It is corporate staff, and right now we're not paying probably whatever MFOA costs. I think it's $1,500 because I'm on the board, so that's normally would be in there as well.
So the 1,800, we should be adding, technically, we would be adding another 1,500 to the 1,800 to bring it to closer to over 3.
Yeah, normally I'd say at least 3,500, but if we have 2 people in the CEO department going this year and I were to go, it would be at least at that $5,000.
Okay, then go down to legal fees. Are all the legal bills in? Because you're looking for $25,000. We've spent 10,500.
I don't think they're all in yet. I'm not sure.
It's one of those areas, again, that's hard to budget for because one claim can just throw everything out of the loop.
Yeah, especially
We-
when it comes to any human resource issues and things. Yeah, that's the big part too, that goes in there under legal.
What if we reduced it to 20?
I could live with that.
That's
yeah.
fine. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Annual fees and memberships, $8,000 seems quite a bit high compared to some of the other departments.
Yeah, I think those are all the, it's the AMCTO, there's the
MFOA.
AMO, there's FMOA, so we belong to a lot of associations as a municipality.
Okay.
Yeah. And they are
I'm
higher.
not, do you want me to just go through my list? Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
And so there's none we can cut.
Not that I'm aware of. They're all active ones that, like your Association of Municipalities of Ontario, there's FCM, there's all those
Okay.
associations.
They're expensive registration.
Registrations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Conference. Yeah, that's where we do, I mean, if there's any, like when you're going to Roma, for instance, as part of we belong to that association. So any of those associations that if you're going to meet to the minister, they're very helpful to be part of that because you do things collectively.
There's GFOA, which I'm part of. They send out a quarterly magazine, which I read. Omtra, Aaron's a part of. So there's more staff in this line as well, Councilor McGregor, just to add that, higher than other departments. There's more staff and there's different associations.
Oh, there we go. We charged out $13.91.
Yeah, it could be that we've hosted, like if we get North Frontenac comes down sometimes we've taken them out for lunch. Okay, that's the kind of thing that we put in there.
We spent 71. What are
I
we
think
repairing?
that's a little bit of everything, is it not, Michael? That's all our paper, that's all our,
Yeah, and again, not being able to get into time to see exactly, it's a catch-all for a lot of different things. It doesn't fit somewhere else. Office paper being a big one. ADP payroll fees, the copier contract at the back.
yeah. We have all those contracts, yeah, for photocopiers. We can certainly try that. Things like this stuff is what costs us a lot to run a lot of copies because with the copier contract, like Michael said, it's the copier contract, but you pay so many, like 5 cents a page for to run your copier. So it's, yeah, but then there's also with all this paper, this is where we put everything, but we can
So
certainly look at it.
for 2020, we spent almost $91,000 2021, we spent $55,000. In 2022, we spent 56, and this year's 70. With the cost of everything rising, I'd be scared to touch that line, to be honest.
Well, let's hope.
Sorry. Postage and postage meter. Have any of the municipalities tried e-bills? And can we switch to e-bills?
This is for tax bills mainly.
Postage and postage meters we're spending.
Yes.
We don't write a lot of letters, I don't think, but we send a lot of
30
tax bills.
$37,000 we're paying in postage.
So, oh, and I swear it was just on Councilor Galley, but thank you. We have overpaid by $12,000 this year, which we put into prepaid that will go into next year. But right now, people can sign up to have their bills emailed to them. We email as much as possible that way. We email pre-authorized payment notices out. So there are sign up options for people on our website to get their bills emailed if they want, and then it saves the postage and maybe they get it a little bit quicker.
So the follow-up to that is, can maybe use some of our advertising money that we just cut a little bit of to start to push for that so we can get that number down?
Well, and we can just simply use social media to try and advertise it as well.
Mhm.
Mike?
I suggested we
Not
charge,
me.
I suggested we charge $5 per tax bill, or they can go paperless for free.
There are municipalities who charge a welcome fee package, which I don't think is very welcoming.
Okay, another one, Doug?
No, just following up with that comment. So maybe new residents, or when there's a change of ownership on a property, we could only give them the option of e-bill unless they specifically request a paper bill and try to get rid of some of them that way.
I think we have to be careful. There's a lot of people that aren't on the internet.
And not everyone, just try to encourage
Why-
more people to head
Why
that.
not put something on our website that flashes up? Get electronic bill services, or have Chris send out a media
Mhm.
blurb every 3 or 4 months. Okay, who was next? Philip.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So you already answered the postage, because I had a question about that, because we're budgeting a lot less than last year. Marriage ceremony fees of $1,200. But when you look at what the offsetting expenses are, it doesn't seem to cover it. So I guess, can we look at what people are paying to get married? Because we're providing it as a service, but it shouldn't necessarily cost us money, I don't think.
No, and I think the thing is too, I think we're looking at increasing the fees so that we get because we split it right now. I get half and the municipality gets half, so it's a fundraiser. Everything else that they have to pay, they pay for the actual license. They pay is it $115 or $120 for their license? Is the license, then the ceremony fees is total of $300, because a lot of them are done on weekends. So that way then I take $150, and the municipality gets $150. So
It just looked that we were going in the hole. providing
no, we're not going,
ceremonies.
no, we're not going in the hole, I don't think.
We do that for a lot of services.
I guess to my point, is it a service we need to provide then?
Yeah. Well, it's amazing though how many people do want civil ceremonies, and it is a
Want to be.
fundraiser.
There's
But-
other ways to do it.
Yeah, but it is, I think the reason why we went that way, it was helping us to get some more money, revenue, because it's trying to find revenue sources. So this is a revenue source.
It
Yeah.
just needs to be a bigger revenue.
Well,
source.
that's right. It can be, that's what I said. We have to look at our fee structure, fees, and maybe increase it accordingly.
Okay, Susan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I know that we've already suggested that we cut the advertising, but I just wanted to clarify what advertising that is.
The 831 that we spent.
Public meetings, council meetings, anything's going into the Frontenac News.
It'd be a lot more than $831.
Well, we've had a lot of meetings, road closings. There's, okay, there's also.
Anything under planning goes under planning. There's a
That's
line there
right.
for planning.
But this, yeah, that's different than this one.
So
I think, sorry, it's mainly the council meetings.
It's the
and-
council meetings and things that we do, and the same as budget meetings, all those.
Okay.
All right,
Lynn.
the reason if I may,
Sorry,
the
go
reason
ahead, Susan.
I ask, because I often hear people say that South Frontenac has such a good Yes, and we have so little, and not everyone is on Facebook, or I know a lot of us are, but not everyone is. So I just wanted to be clear what's in that budget line, because
I would guess the quarter page ad that South Frontenac puts in is $300 or $400. And they do it monthly or twice a month. Is it in there weekly? Okay. Well, and again, to have the bodies to write all of that stuff and keep it updated and
Yeah, the other thing that goes on certainly with advertising is it makes it very difficult. 'Cause I know a lot of people have asked if we could do something similar to what South Frontenac has, and we have done it, I think, in past, but it's something, it's costly though, if we're going to want to do that route.
okay, anything else on page 3? Lynn?
Thank you. On the communication line 70015, we're budgeting 18,401. And last year it was 12,804. That's a $6,000 increase. Why?
Are all the bills in is the question too.
Lots of more funds.
Are you able to get in, Michael?
Well, sorry, not into Diamond. I'm trying to do it out of the actual transactions that FMW gives. And Councillor Clegg said 6,000 more than actuals versus last year. So and then I have to go over to this other one. It's
And remember,
you know
Michael,
what? Yeah, so it's probably timing on bills. I can't
Yeah.
see which one I can see August, that was done in November. And there's one for December, so I can presume that's September. Then there might be October, November, December yet to come. It comes through the county and there's a little delay in that billing, so it could easily be just a timing impact on this line.
yeah, because the telephone would be, some of those informations. Besides that, with communications, it's not, we have our cell phones. And then it's our telephone, our fax machine at the office.
It's one we'll look at again when we get the final numbers.
Find the numbers.
All right. Page 4. I feel like we're going backwards now. We're on page 4. Nikki and then Duncan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Okay, Michael, subscriptions. You're looking for $1,900. You spent 1,156. How many subscriptions do we pay for, and are they actually used? Or necessary? I guess necessary is the question.
I don't see any increases from last year. Sorry, that's where I was going first. 747. Municipal law user manual, and there's Thompson Reuters, which we use for payroll. So I'd say the law manual is useful.
It's the municipal act,
Yeah.
and the municipal law, yeah, that's
So-
what we use. We get all the updates all the time from that publication.
And the payroll one I would say is useful.
Yes,
So could we cut $500 there, please, and thanks?
So is 1,200 the limit of what's coming in?
depends if they've put their fees up or not. We don't know that until,
In previous years, we've spent 772, 1651, 1705, and then 1,200 last year.
Ah,
so it goes up and down, so.
sure.
So the publications you just mentioned,
Yes.
is that information not available online?
There probably is, but you could have to get some of those, you'd have to pay for that subscription online. Do you not? I think we do. They want it.
I'm unsure of what the cost is online, but I do know that this specific book for the municipal act actually lays out interpretations for the acts so that we
Yes,
can
that's all we
properly
can see.
understand. It's a quite comprehensive book.
Yeah.
It is very valuable to have an annotated act. I can speak to that from personal experience.
But how many times?
We have to go back to Nikki first.
It's related.
It's related? Okay, go related.
How many times does the municipal act change that we have to have it updated every year?
Oh, it goes up
They
quite
s-
often.
They send amendments though, do they not?
They said, no, that, yeah, they do, but these ones are coming as one whole book, so you might have amendments, it could be 2 or 3 in a year. I really don't know. It's up to the government at that point, what they change.
There's a risk of not being current. So you've either got to do it or you don't do it at all, but yeah, we need to do it.
Okay,
Oh.
back to Nikki because she didn't finish.
Ugh, I just got started. Okay, Michael, you're spending 15,000 on records management. Is that a new module because you didn't buy that module last year?
That is $15,000 that's supposed to be used in general for records management, whether it be time rims and whatnot. And I would say basically time constraint has not allowed us to do it. Should we do it? Yes, whether it's hiring a summer student or whatever we need to do to get the records digitized. I think it's an important thing to do, but again, who's going to lead that? It's
Okay, so then I guess my negative question is it something that can be cut or are you going, you want it this year and you're definitely going to do it?
I'm not going to lead it.
No,
I don't
and
know if
it's one
anybody
of
else
those,
is.
and with that, we are having the summer students that we have, and we have some clerical to start to scan everything so that we can get it into the Tom Rim system. The concern is with records management, and I think that with corporate entities, and we're trying to get as much as we can scanned and into Tom Rims, so that when an employee leaves, all those documents are in one spot so that anybody can pick it up at any time. And we're finding that right now. So it's just getting the time to actually do it. We could maybe cut down some from the 15, but I wouldn't necessarily, we're trying to do it as we go along. It's amazing how many things we have to go and start searching. And it takes us longer to find searching, to find those records, but where if it's all in this Tom Rim system, you just go up, you call it, and you can pick it up, and then you know what's happened. So we're doing like all council, all minutes, everything that's going into the Tom Rims.
So what if we put 10 in? Instead of 15?
And you will make it a
And we can, well, we do that with our students to try that. How much we get done, we can certainly do, we'll do our best to get to certainly do as much as we possibly can. 'Cause
Try to
that's the aim.
spend $10,000 on it.
All right.
So,
No, it's people. It's not software.
Salary.
This is, or sorry, no, this is the,
Right now, I think the way we set it
I
up,
think we
it
just
was
put
for
it
whatever
into-
we need to do to get records management in place done, whether it was the Tom Rims training or something. But Andy had, I think it was $5,000 that he used to get some records digitized that we don't. So maybe that's the answer is we just take 10 boxes and throw them out the door up to the $10,000 or whatever.
yeah, and that we could do that for sure.
so let's put 10 in there.
X off again. The very next line, you spent 12,000 on training, you want 20,000. Is there any way we could shave, say, 5 off of that?
Well, we just signed up for the Lean Six Sigma program, all managers, and that would suck up the difference, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then let's go down to accessibility. You'd originally wanted 5, dropped it by 4 to 1,000. And what are we going to use it for? Because we didn't have any expenses there last year.
That's again, accessible records, I believe.
When I see that line, I think anything we could, if we had to do something to the front counter and it was under $1,000, we could put that there. If it's something on the website, that's where I would code that too. Could we cut it? Absolutely, we can.
Yeah.
But accessibility keeps coming back and again and again and again. So I'm not sure.
Okay, so, well, we'll keep moving, come back to it. Now I'm down to economic development. So what is in this $19,500 that the ask is for when we only spent $1,517?
Well, the big one is $12,000 for the Sharper Lake wayfinding signage that I think was supposed to be initially done in 2022. It wasn't, and it wasn't done in 2023, so it's still there. The other $5,000 is bang the table with the county, and that software is being used for surveys and whatnot, and that's our share of that cost. So it's a pretty big ask from the whole. software in general. And then general, there's $2,500 for economic development.
Okay. Christmas expense, $1,000. We spent 400.
I'm going to say the one invoice, so I put them on my, is that the one I'm thinking of? That's like the Christmas turkeys or the gift
Christmas,
certificates or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, the gas cards, I think we did.
Yeah, the gas
And so,
card.
yeah, so the one bill must have got coded somewhere else
Else.
because I know we spent that $1,000.
Okay. Then I'm gonna go down tax billing. You've done really well with tax billing. Yeah, really. Is there a possibility of shaving 1,000 there?
It depends on what we have in stock for tax bills. And the more people that sign up for the internet, the less we would need. But we've ranged anywhere from spending $1,200 to almost $5,000 in different years. So could we shave it off? Yes. If we don't have enough tax bills, I'll handwrite them if I have to.
I'll come and help you.
Are you cutting that? Did you say some off of it? 1,000, did you say? Or
Remember, sending these out is the
That's-
only income we have.
have? That's correct.
That's for sure.
Well, but this isn't sending them out because we pay postage to send them out. This
This
is-
is paper to send out.
Well, and, that's,
It's the money is for the tax bills, the envelopes, anything else that may come in there, but those are really the two that are in there.
joint health and safety, moving right along, joint health and safety. You're asking for 25, you spent $1,100.
That's the committee expense, is it not?
Yes.
Did that go down to 1,500?
I think so. We haven't
Yep.
spent over 1,400 since 2020, so.
Okay. so
Okay.
15.
Your copier contract, is it a renewal year? Are you getting a new contract that you're wanting? And actually,
I think, well, in one case, we're going to be purchasing a new
I think we're going to have
copier.
to, yeah,
Yeah, a
whether,
new copier to purchase.
sorry, whether that's under the copier contract or we buy it. But also the number of copies that we produce at the back, there's a certain amount that we pay for each one. So that's where this is. And so it depends on who prints what.
Because I mean, we could probably bring that down to even 2,500 maybe. So we spent 2369.
The last bills aren't in.
No, he hasn't got all. the
I'd be
bills.
inclined maybe to 3,500. That,
Sure.
but do we buy a copier or do we lease a copier? Because when you lease it, you get a better rate on the cost per copy
Yeah.
for colored and black and white.
Yeah, we're looking into that right now. The county does a lot of that for us. So they're looking into that. Brennan was responsible and looking after that.
My next question is asset management.
Mhm.
You really jumped there. So what are the big plans there?
Yep.
Please and thanks.
and that is for 2025, we have to have the proposed levels of service. And in no way do I have time to do it myself. I've part of the reason we went with this, going back a little bit, but went with Citywide was because we wanted to be able to do it ourselves. But to have that expertise that they deal with it on a regular basis, they can be a lot more efficient, but we need to have meat in the game. We need to know what's going on. So this is the one I mentioned at the beginning of the day where it's $40,000 to do it with some assistance from us. It'd probably be 60 or 70 or more for them to do it completely. So that's the big jump. I also left $10,000 in there for the asset retirement obligation requirements because we've done the minimum that we need to do this year to get numbers for the financial statements, but that we have not done all the buildings and it's like everything else expensive.
Okay. Employee assistant program. 896. So is there many outstanding bills to come in to justify the 2,500?
This, I believe we pay if the employees access the program.
And it's through the county, is it not?
It is through the county, Madam Mayor, Councilor Gowdy. The bills could be behind. It is through the county again, but it is based on the number of employees. And I know Philip asked me recently, I update them quarterly, how many employees we have and volunteer firefighters. Oh, there we are.
It's off again, sorry. How many tax sales do you see on the books this year? That you're gonna have high expenses for?
I don't know this year. That is an in and is in and then out, if I can get those words out. So we do pay the fee, but then we also bill to the tax roll, the fees for that. So if you reduce on that line, you'd have to reduce on another. Average, we send at least average 15 a year that we send, and we end up with like 8 or 10 once we do the sale.
Okay. And then energy audit. How often do we do an energy audit? It's only $300, but we didn't do one obviously last year.
Can I be smart and say when I have the energy to do it?
Sounds
It's
good.
not
I'll
normally,
take it.
so I honestly, I'm trying to think of what that was even for, and the building department comes to mind if there's anything in that regard that we would have done for you guys, but so we can cut it.
And then my last two are the bottom two, the building repairs and the miscellaneous expenses. So you'd like 2,500 and you spent
25,000.
25,000, thank you. And you only spent 15,000.
Sorry, I'm just building repairs and maintenance. Okay, so we added 5,000 this year for the control unit for the new addition office heat pump that honestly has already been done because the back part wouldn't have heat and they didn't like that for some reason.
Yeah, imagine.
There's duct cleaning that we added in for air quality. I think that's important. And then the clearing trees from the septic bed is 3,000. So there's your $8,000 increase over last year.
So we'll leave the 10, but we're taking out the 3 above it.
There.
The
Yeah.
300, yeah.
300, yes.
Yeah, okay. And miscellaneous 15,000
That is,
miscellaneous.
planning module and citywide percentage completed and billed. I wasn't 100% sure. So that's a holder. So the planning module is mostly in, but I don't believe that we have all the bills yet. So depending on what comes in 2023, I may have to do an accrual for that. And
So you think we still need 15 in there?
I'm not 100% sure, Madam Mayor. It could be less. I'd have to look and see what the last bill
Again,
was.
we
that
can
came in.
come back to that one.
Okay, I will.
Okay, page, oh, sorry. I've got Duncan, Philip, and Dan.
Under economic development, of the 19,500, you said 17 was allocated for projects. Is that coming out of reserves?
No, not specifically this year. We did pull 12,000 out of reserves to do it last year. We had budgeted for that. And basically we're pulling more out of reserves than we're putting in. So in a sense, it is coming out of reserves, but it's not 100%.
Okay, so because I've had this conversation with a few different members of council. At the end of the day, we're only allocating $2,500 a year for economic development. And so when we have our strategic planning sessions, economic development's mentioned every 5 minutes. So if we're going to continue to treat that as a priority, we need to allocate more than $2,500 a year for economic development in Center Frontenac.
You have to remember, it's a committee of council. It recommends to council, and then council approves what it needs to be expended.
Yep.
I don't think we want to change that because then every committee would have a budget and control of that budget. The wayfaring signs is one that there's a grant for, right? So there will be a grant applied for that. And Michael, tell me if I'm wrong, but if we put 12,000 in last year, sorry, it keeps going on. We put 12,000 in last year and that money wasn't spent. So it's in that surplus number that if we wanted, we could bring that back out for this year.
And in a sense, it's sitting in reserves at the end of 2023 because it wasn't spent. But again, we're pulling in more from reserves than what we're actually putting in. So where do you sit there and say, yes, it's sitting in reserves or it's not sitting in reserves because we're pulling everything out?
You spent it on something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the wayfinding signs, I think that's where needs to be looked at because it hasn't been spent at all.
But I think,
We're talking
I
about
think
them.
Duncan's question is that the Economic Development Committee should have a budget of its own.
That's
Yeah.
correct. If we want to, so the economic development has a strategic plan that they're following. And if they want to accomplish that strategic plan, they need more money than $2,500 a year.
Susan?
So, through Madam Mayor, first of all, with the wayfinding signage, we had a change in council. My understanding is that Tyson had asked Chris to look into the wayfinding signage. That's one of his projects. And then it came to the Economic Development Committee, and new committee. It took us a while to get going. So chances are we are going to be spending that money this year. And I take your point about where a committee of council, I think the 2,000 or whatever allows us to do certain things, but any bigger project, we would be coming to council with a recommendation. So for example, if it's the MAP project or something else, we would be asking council for funds, for approval to proceed.
I guess the question is, did you have a budget last year? Has there ever been a budget other than the strats plan stuff?
Other than the 2,000 or 1,500? No, we wanted some just in case we needed some education or experience, but a lot of them are through the government and they're free webinars, so we haven't had to take advantage of that.
Okay, so really it would be a policy change if we were to do it that way. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. It allot committees the power to spend a certain amount of money and budget for that. I'm just saying that normally what we do is if you have a recommendation, you bring it to council and then it gets approved here and then you go about and do what you want. But it's either way.
The follow, I'm not looking for a policy change. I'm just saying, so even if the Economic Development Committee comes forward and asks for money, where does the money come from? And so the money, who spends the money, we don't need to decide at this point. It's just that there's $5,000. I'd like to see $5,000 as a pool of money that they can pull from in order to hit some of their strategic objectives.
Well,
You'd have to.
we're taking money out. We can put money in if that's what you want to do. But remember, it has to service all of the areas, not just one. Lynn.
For example, right now, in the economic development, on a mapping project for the township as a whole. And if we complete getting our prep work done on that, and we want to print that, where would the money come from? How, like, do we need to talk about that now so that it's ready that we could do it? Or how could we accomplish getting it done?
So probably you should put together a budget and submit it as part of the budgeting process, like the rec committees do. That would make sense.
So Madam Mayor, if Councillor Clagus said, it's $500 to get these pamphlets printed or whatever, it would come out of that line. So to Councillor McGregor's point, maybe we increase it 2,500 to 5,000 for now and see how that goes this year.
Certainly, yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Go ahead. Now, wait a minute, before we leave that, are we doing that?
Oh, sorry. Yep, go ahead.
You're going to increase.
Let's decide. We're at 19,500. Are we increasing that by 2,500 or 3,000 or 5?
I'd like to increase it 2,500.
Any other comments? So we're plus 25 in
Plus
there.
2,500 in that.
Okay.
The other thing in regards to the wayfinding signs, I know at one point, which we never took the opportunity, is to go under with the county when we did all those signage. They did all those signs for North Frontenac has all theirs, all their villages or small. That was all under a county project, under that whole economic development. And I think they got a grant at the time for that. And at that point, I said, I didn't understand that our municipality was not part of that, which we had. It was the public works manager at the time had decided not to go that route, but did not inform us, and certainly with council, because that would have been a big plus for us. They would be all the same, but that was part of that whole county thing.
We need some new
Unfortunately.
signs. Ours are
We do.
pretty plain. Where did we leave off? Were you done, Duncan? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we're done that.
Okay. Courier for $500.
What's that? Sorry?
Courier for $500. We haven't spent any money last year.
That's that's when we get the percolator comes to pick up our packages.
We
I know
must have
because
been.
fire's under something separate, so.
Okay, so it just hasn't had anything spent in 2023?
No, I don't think. Yeah, we may have not sent anything out by courier. Sometimes you'll get the legal stuff will come and they want you to send it out by courier, so.
Okay, so we need it in there. And then second line from the top, volunteer staff recognition. I'd like to double that amount for this year. We're asking staff and our volunteers to deal with a more tight budget. And I think it would be nice to be able to give Kathy some opportunities to spend some more money in that department.
Now you're saying other than fire.
Volunteer, no,
Yeah.
this is just
So this is for staff,
volunteer and staff
for
recognition.
corporate services. Okay,
Yep, I'd like to double it to $2,000.
everybody okay with that? Okay. All right, anything else? No. Now Philip and then Dan. And Bill.
So I think now I only have one question. Computer support, is that like licensing and support for software, or is this the county expense? I'm just wondering why it's jumped up a fair bit.
Yeah, so through Madam Mayor, Councillor Smith, that is for the Diamond. It is for the citywide. Diamond, I think was 22,000 last year. Citywide, I'd honestly have to go through and add up. We have a bunch of different ones. But what I always try and put in there is money for improvements. So that throughout the year, something comes up. We've made numerous improvements over the years. But there's also in there, there's move. So when we did our building condition survey, and Aaron's probably listening, going, Michael, keep it simple. I'd like to move our buildings over to componentized in citywide software. I thought that was supposed to be part of what we went through and did, but it wasn't. And it can be a very taxing on our brain at the end of the year. So I'd like to have all that moved over if I can. And there's a customer portal in citywide that has $5,000 in there as well, that I think honestly is the better one to go with instead of another software that we use, without saying any names, that I think customers can log into, renew their dog tag license online and some other things. That's the goal moving forward, but try and do it in little increments. Does that help?
Does that answer your question? Okay. And next is Dan, then Bill.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Philip just asked my question, so.
Okay,
Thank you.
Bill.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. 71867 and 868 admin vehicle, $5,600 fuel, LOF and repairs.
And nothing charged out to it.
What admin vehicle?
So a few years ago now, Councillor Everett, through Madam Mayor, we had proposed to get a vehicle for the admin department to save on having to pay mileage. That never came to fruition. COVID came along, everything went online, and it's still sort of in there in the works, whether that's right to do this year or another year. But there is nothing in the 2024 requested budget for that right now. So, but the account lines were created, they're still there and still a possibility.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, page 5. Duncan.
Police miscellaneous expenses default number 1, $5,000.
To Councillor McGregor through Madam Mayor, I believe that had something to do with the CPAC committee. I know that's dissolving, but I feel like it's a Cindy thing when she was here doing something with that.
With the police, yeah.
I want to say.
I'm thinking the new program or the new board, we wouldn't need to be funding anything, would we?
Yes, there will be some funds. I think we're going to be
Mileage?
meeting in regards to mileage and things as to a representative from the new police services board that we're going to be part of.
Do you think we can use?
I don't think I don't know. I think we don't need 5,000 though.
How about 1,500?
Yeah, because I mean, we haven't met yet. We're going to be meeting with South Frontenac in regards to the, what the cost is going to be to set, for the members that sit on that committee, remuneration, mileage, all that. So that hasn't been done yet. So
Maybe 2,500.
well, you might need, I don't know how often they're going to be meeting either at this point.
We would share between us and North, we'd share a person, right?
Yes,
That 1,500 should do it. Okay,
we'll see.
All right, so under animal control expense, materials, supplies and repairs. 1,600.
1,600. We spent 323. Is that tags?
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, I'm having connection issues and it's
Okay.
blocking me out and then that's delaying my ability to respond, sorry.
It's, yeah, I see that.
No, that's revenue. No, the materials is 1,600.
Animal control materials.
We spent 323.
Probably tags,
Oh,
whatever we have left.
It probably could be reduced a little bit. We used to buy dog tags every year, but a number of years ago, we went with Diamond. We stopped buying them. So I don't think we probably maybe could reduce that at least to 1,000, if not 500.
Can we?
I
take-
would think
can we take it
so.
down to 500?
Yeah. Because now we may have people just come and renew, right? If they, unless they lose their tags.
And then yeah, so legal fees, $2,000. My question, I understand legal fees, the $2,000 is a lot, but are we ever going to pursue anything in that category? Because we're not making any money off it, so I don't know.
I don't know if we had anything in other years, Michael.
That's what I
When
was
we
just
went
going to
to-
look at.
Yeah, went to,
We spent $153 in 2021.
yeah, so we could reduce that.
500. And then lastly, it's just a statement. The amount of money we're spending on the dog or animal control program is ridiculous for the amount of money we're bringing in. That's it.
Well, if I may respond to that, it's another thing, again, probably 2 years. I certainly had good intentions to get a report to council this fall to increase that again. I think last time it increased was probably almost 10 years ago and it went from $9 to $12.
Nikki,
Michael, when you say the contracted services for animal control, do you get a bill that's dedicated that from Frontenac bylaw, that this much of the bill is for animal control, this much of the bill is for bylaw, like complaints for things? Is it split apart and that's
Yes.
how you bill it? Or is it all just billed to the animal control expense?
So through Madam Mayor to Council Gowdy, we get a separate bill for the animal control, separate from any bylaw issues and whatnot. So it's a nice, easy bill, 1,500 or whatever it is each month. Yes.
Yeah, and it's on the chief's report all the time with council. He has it both broken down. Yeah, it's broken down for both.
page 6.
Sorry, if I can just go back to that for a second. Sorry, Council
Yeah.
Gowdy, were you asking if the animal control bill that I get is by the normal monthly fee and complaints or whatever?
Yes, so when the bill comes in, does the bill say that this part of the bill is for animal control
Control.
and this part of the bill is for bylaw complaints?
Other than.
Yes.
Other than dogs?
Okay, sorry, what's coming to mind is I get the monthly bill. I don't remember seeing, dog complaint this or animal legal fee for that. Like I've only ever seen the animal services, but I was getting confused between were you talking bylaw and animal? So I just wanted to clarify.
So it is billed separately for animal services.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that was the question,
That was
right?
the question, yes, because the chief does give us a good report and it says on animal
Noise.
and noise and
barking.
Yes.
garbage complaint or what have you.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Page 6, and we are at 2:11, so we've got 50 minutes. So anything on this page, Duncan and Nikki and Philip? In that order, in that order.
I think this is the, Wagerville Parham Library is like $6,000 or $7,000 more expensive than any of the other libraries.
Which portion, the heat?
It looks, the heat, the repairs, and the hydro all look to be higher than any other library. And the total amount is $6,000 more than the other libraries.
So what's happening there?
The
Michael.
Parham Library has $3,000 this year for septic tank grading, needs to be completed in 2024. The septic system could fail prematurely.
So that's 3,000.
Well, just the follow-up question to that, that's only 3,000. Just wondering where the other 5 is compared to the other libraries.
All the library though? Same buildings.
They could split the cost of that. Is that what you're thinking?
Oh. Go ahead, sorry, you know better.
There's been issues with the heating system there.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, there's nothing in the actuals that show us what's been spent there.
That's part of the year-end journal entries where I take the bill that's gone to the fire department and take a certain percentage and do an adjustment over.
Okay, so let's come back to that one.
The follow-up question is, if there was a problem with the heat, is it fixed? And if it is fixed, then we don't need to budget 2,500 if all the other libraries are only using less than 1,000.
I don't think we got the bill until 2024, if I'm not mistaken. Like it's money that we spent this year already.
So we can come back to this one as well. Do you have another one, Duncan? Okay, Nikki.
Thank you. So to follow up on Duncan's, I see that you're like, I understand what you're saying, that you're going to allocate the expense to libraries from fire halls like Mountain Grove and Parham, but I don't see the credit going against the fire department in the heat and stuff. The expenses are all still there, but the fire department's not getting that credit against it in the budget.
So the adjustment through to Councilor Gowdy through Madam Mayor does come from the fire department. So fire could be at 20,000 and I take 3,000 out. You're only going to see 17, but you're going to see 3 in the library. So it does come from the fire department.
Okay, well,
Okay,
I have more questions.
okay.
Can we go up to the extra expenses on materials and repairs to the medical center?
Yes. Where
And-
we spent 1,800 and 4,500 is,
Yes.
okay, Michael.
So what are we inquiring? Sorry, why it's up to 4,500?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you only spent 1,800.
There's a ton of stuff that's never been done that should have been done.
Again, the materials, supplies, repairs is kind of a catch-all. There's a lot of things that can go in there. But specifically this year, there's $1,500 that's in for a fridge for the medical center to be located at the Station 3 Fire Hall. So I believe when the power went out and they had to have drugs kept refrigerated, that's what part of the increase is.
Okay, the medical center has a generator, so can somebody
No,
explain
they
that?
don't have a generator.
No, they don't have a generator. Medical center doesn't have a generator, no.
We've cut it over the years.
Okay. And so then let's go to the next line. What is other building repairs for 9,000?
So that is related to a quote that was received to fix all of the lighting in the medical center.
Okay. I'm good there.
Okay, Philip, you were next.
I have more questions than when I started now, but anyhow. So we're buying a fridge for the medical center and we're going to keep it at the fire hall. So that
Because
doesn't
there's a
make a lot of
generator there.
sense to me, but what I did have a question about though was, nope, we already answered them.
They're answered?
Yeah, but I still don't understand the fridge.
Okay, let me explain the fridge. The medical center does not have a generator. We have never approved a generator. When the power went out for that week,
We not being the township, just to be clear.
okay,
But we own the building.
we own the building. And as a landlord, if you're without power, the landlord usually gets called to say, I have no power. Typically, if you have a medical center that you want to provide care to your residents, you do everything you can to ensure that they have medicine. The medication in the fridge would not save after a certain temperature rise. So the fire department with their generator said, bring the medication here to conserve it, so it wouldn't go bad. Chris? Pardon? If they get an approval for the generator. If
already
they
have the
don't, we don't need a
generator,
fridge.
No.
We'll just throw it all out.
That's true. Then we don't need the fridge. So that's gonna be half a done one. We can take the fridge out.
But it's a commercial, it's a commercial lease as well. So normally those improvements are paid by the tenant.
Susan?
I suppose you could look at it another way as emergency management for the township.
Mhm.
Okay,
How much are we spending on a fridge?
1,500.
1,500, Councilor McGregor.
1,500. Would it could it be looked at to, instead of spending the $1,500 in the fridge and having the medical staff have to move to the fire hall, just installing a propane fridge at the medical center when they already have the tanks there? And then they don't have to move their stuff and it's guaranteed to work in a power outage. No generator required.
Really?
And they're about $2,000.
Well, I know that the medical center just bought a new fridge. So I don't know.
It's a fridge that runs on electricity.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
So-
But I'm just saying, what do you do with that fridge if you replace it with a propane one? Anyway, if we don't get a generator for the fire hall, we can take this fridge out. We don't have to put it in. Do you want to take it out? Take it out? Okay, 1,500 is out.
Madam Mayor, may I just suggest you put a question mark until we hear about the generator?
Okay, all right. Question mark. What else? No, that's it. All right. Page 7. Anything on this page? Page 8. Nikki.
Michael, what is the licensing module you'd like to buy under capital purchase, please?
Through Madam Mayor, Councillor, Gowie, sorry. I was just trying to pull that up and remind myself a little bit of it. It is a module in the citywide that would help us with licensing. So like what I was envisioning initially was light trucks, and dog tags. So we'd run that through when I talked about the customer portal earlier. You could license whatever. So in a sense, a revenue source for the municipality is what I was hoping. So again, chip trucks, dog tags, whatever other licensing that we would need to do could be all run through that. People could also in the customer portal, again, kind of the end vision of customers seeing, okay, I applied for it. They can see what stage they're at, like a building permit, and see if Andy's responded or if I've responded, if it's something for me. So that's what that is for.
So a follow-up. So what we're using now with the dog tag system is,
It's Diamond, and it trying to be objective here. It works, but not well.
so the system where I buy my fire permits is a good system in my opinion. I get to go on each January and I buy my permits.
Yep.
Is it similar or the same as what I would be buying? Could I buy all my permits? Like, is there any way that fire could be combined with it as well?
It is a potential. That is one system that we looked at because it has worked out so well. What I was trying to again envision is have that one-stop shop for the customer to come in and have their dog tags. Yes, they still have to go somewhere for their fire permit. When we inquired with this initially a year and a half or 2 years ago, they couldn't combine those two again. So it'd be another login for somebody to set up. Whereas if we could get this customer portal center, they'd log in for that. They could do their building, they could do their license, they could do their whatever. Like that's the envision of going forward. But I know this system works very well for the fire departments, at least from what I've heard in responding and whatnot. So we could potentially sister with that. But I don't think it's the right direction for the dog tags and licensing.
Okay.
Okay. Any other, Duncan?
So currently with the services we offer, the only reason we use that licensing module is for dog tags, is that right?
No, well, we're not using it yet because it hasn't been approved.
No, that's right.
But it would be dog tags, the way we're doing everything right now. I'd have to honestly look back at it, Councilor McGregor through Mayor, sorry. And see what else we could use it for. But yeah, any licensing that we would want to do, if it's bed and breakfasts, or ARBs or Airbnb, sorry.
Okay, so I'd like to pull that one from the budget and look at it again at the end of this year into the 2025 budget, because right now, if all we can do with it that we offer is dog tags, that would take our dog tag expense to or our animal control expense to $45,000 a year. And we're only bringing in 6,100. So it's just adding another expense to an already losing service. I support it. It's a good program. I just think we should wait till next year and maybe we'll have more uses for it.
What are others thinking? Get rid of it? Yep, nods. Yays. Okay, it's gone. 15 is out. Next. Philip.
I would just like an explanation of the lighting project, because I think we tendered a lighting project last year that was awarded. So I'm just wondering what more lights are we doing?
It's still the same project, Councillor Smith from Madam Mayor. I just put the 100,000 in there because when we put this together, I didn't have any bills. I don't know what was going on and where we're at. I knew we'd done some work. I have to do an accrual this year for some whatever's done, but if the work hasn't been done, then some of that will have to fall into 2024. You want to add anything, Andy?
And there was a grant for that, is that right? A percentage of it?
Not a grant, but there was a rebate program that was applied for, and we received something like 10 or what was it?
Okay. Suggestions? No? Okay. Anything else on that page? Go ahead.
Last question on this page. The computer replacement, we're replacing 3 computers. Is there anything wrong with these 3 computers?
All right. I was distracted by failing
Is there
software.
anything wrong with these computers that we're replacing for $9,000?
There may not be anything wrong with to Councillor Smith's point earlier. The county has a policy which we're signed on to. They support us that we do it every 3 years regardless. And I believe it was because of the warranty, but I'd have to double check with the county on that.
It was more, sorry, it was more a statement that so far in the budget, we've spent $15,000 on computers that have nothing wrong with them.
Can we sell computers? Can we sell these that we're not using that are 3 or 4 years old?
I think we'd have to check with that with David Millard at the county since they do all the,
Could they not be cleaned off and considered surplus and put up for sale?
I have no idea. So we'd have to check into
Let's
that
check
with David.
some
I'm sure.
revenue. Okay. Page 9. Oh, sorry, Susan.
Sorry. Line 70370, the Harvey Barber Shop purchase renovation. Don't we have when we were looking at facilities, there was a section for Public Works, the Public Works building. So is that a duplication or?
I don't even see it. Is that on page 8?
Page 8, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing in it.
It's just, there's an expenditure there, but nothing budgeted.
Michael, that probably could go over to the Public Works office, maybe.
I'm sorry, I'm not on this. I'm on page 8, but I'm not on the same
third.
page.
Third one down.
Oh, we're still up top there. Okay, sorry. So I think that was for the walkway.
It might have been for the walkway, but we have it for Public Works office, or you had building.
But ultimately, there's nothing in the budget for 2024 though.
No, but that's why you could put it all under one heading instead of 2 separate
But
accounts.
There's nothing budgeted. It just
Right.
shows an actual that was spent.
Yep.
Just so that we
Yeah.
don't have it, moving forward, we just keep under one building and not make sure it's in 2 spots.
That was, sorry, Madam Mayor, that's what it was called a long time ago when we set it up. So
Okay, Bill,
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Medical Center generator, 2 lines for $176,000. 70370.
why is there 2? Michael,
So through Madam Mayor to Councillor Everett, the generator is not in there in the council review column, so it was there. We took it out at some point along the way. And the medical center, $110,000. Andy might be better to do, but I know it's the roof, some siding, accessible bathroom, and there's one other thing I think I'm missing there.
oh, so that's a combination of that stuff that was on that.
Yes, on the
Medical
Andy
center.
slide there, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right. Oh, Dan?
On that roof design, thanks, Madam Mayor. On that roof design, Andy, could we incorporate some of that expense back through the designer or engineer on that? Being it was faulty right from the start?
I'm not sure I understand
The roof was poorly designed right from the beginning, obviously, or when it leaked. So it's a design flaw. Could we not go back on the engineers or the designer for some of that expense?
It's been a lot
Yes.
of years.
I'm not
I
sure
don't know
when
how
that was
long.
constructed. It could be, there's been some crickets added to it that aren't. I don't know if they were on the original plan or not, but the way the valleys are running now, there's two of them that run into the wall of the second floor, so it needs a complete redesign for that one end.
We wish we could get some compensation, but okay. Anything else on this page? Now we're going to page 9. All right. Duncan.
Under technology expense, materials, supplies and repairs. There's $2,000 budgeted, but nothing was used in 2023. I'm just wondering if we could find room in the budget somewhere for that $2,000 under all the other IT lines we have.
Or if it's included someplace else.
Yeah, or just cut it.
So Michael, that's 0260-733.
Yeah, and I see there's only $2,000 in there, and as Councilor McGregor said, we didn't spend anything in 2023 in the
Yeah.
past, and I think things have been moved around as we try and refine data. We've spent 4,300, 9,000 and 17,000. But I think I moved some of that money to computer support, so yeah, I don't know what may fall under there other than material supplies or repairs. So yeah, got it.
Okay. All right.
Second line from the bottom, I don't know what CERB dispatch is.
That is the money through Madam Mayor to Councilor McGregor for the 911 that we get billed, and then we bill based on the population a certain amount to North Frontenac Township. So it's whatever that agreement was eons ago.
It's an old agreement. That's correct.
Okay, and then lastly is 911 civic signs. We spent no money in 2023 and we're asking for 4,000.
Oh, I think we spent money. We definitely installed some signs.
Yeah.
It just hasn't been charged out yet, I would guess.
That, Madam Mayor, that would be either my guess as well, or it went somewhere else. When
In
you
the
first say the
roads.
911 signs, it feels like we buy a bunch this year, we don't buy any this year, and then we buy some that year. And I'm just not on that line to say 70501 information technology website. Is that where we're?
0435-72225.
0435. So I'm not even in the right sub department.
My question is for the chief. Chief, will we not be putting up a bunch of new 911 signs on the islands? Because you were working on a project about the islands. So could that be where the expense will be this year?
Through you, Madam Mayor. So we're still waiting to hear from the board in Toronto on the naming of the islands. Then we start looking at civic numbers. So it's going to be some time for that. So.
But you could put it under that. We could put under that line if need be.
And in the past, 2020, we spent 2,700. 2021, we spent 4,400, and about the same in 2022. So why in 2023? It may just be that off year.
What do you want to do? Do you want to start or do you want to come back another day and do roads and fire? Maybe there
Well, I
will
think-
be some answers.
Yeah, I
from
think that
today.
way Michael could maybe make all those adjustments from today, what you've, asked to be cut. I think that's a good, and then go back to with fire and certainly public works, and then look at everything to see where we're at that point.
And it will give both departments some time to go back through their numbers and see if there's anything there that they can cut as well. Or we could just stop.
Yeah.
Okay, let's figure out a date when we can meet again. Michael, how much time do you, oh, I better get my microphone here. How much time do you think you'll need, Michael, to make adjustments and get the year-end stuff in and posted and paid and?
I will have the year-end stuff done for mid-March when the auditors come.
Yeah.
And that's too late to meet for budget, unfortunately. So as much as I would love to have council the exact numbers, I can't see it happening in the next 2 weeks. In order to get moving on stuff with the budget, Derek, yeah, I don't know,
Okay.
next couple weeks, maybe we could meet.
So within a couple of weeks, you should have the year-end bills in.
Should have the run done this week. So, but there'll still be the year-end adjustments to do, which would be later potentially.
Okay, so a couple of weeks.
So you're
Um,
looking at sort of that, the third week in February, Michael, because that gives, because we have council on the 13th and the 27th of February. Do you want to go in the midweek? Say, I don't know what the 19th is like.
We have county.
Oh, no, the
council,
19th is a holiday.
Family day.
It's family.
We have
day.
county council the 21st, 22nd is open and the 23rd for me. Monday, the 26th. Okay, we might as
Okay.
well. So that we have some accurate numbers. It will give the Central Frontenac Rec Committee time to meet and go over what they want to bring back.
Mm-hmm.
So 26. Michael, that will work for you?
Sure.
Okay, so 26th. And again, we'll start at 9
Nine.
o'clock. Is the hall available, Jody? Could you
Uh-huh.
check?
Yeah, I'll check 1 second.
If not here, it would be at the fire hall.
What time did you want to go till that?
I'd say 9 till 3 or finish if it's
Okay.
before.
All right. Hold it.
Sorry, is that February 29th?
Yes,
26.
26.
26, sorry. Thank you.
There is 29 days in February this year. Okay,
Yeah, it's like-
if there's nothing else to be done, I have a motion. Moved by Nikki Gowdy, seconded by Duncan McGregor, that bylaw 2024-03 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the special council meeting held January 29th, 2024. Be read a first and second and third time and finally passed this 29th day of January 2024, and further this meeting be adjourned until 6 p.m. on the 13th of February 2024, said meeting to be held at the Sorges Memorial Hall.